1 second.
Fuck that.
I have to sound good, you know. Poe's paying me for this.
Who's paying you for this?
I would love to get paid to fucking cast games.
Right? I would be on that completely.
Do I sound a little better now? Oh, no, we're still having to fucking update more fucking shit.
Just a little update, just a little update.
Oh, that's right. Tomorrow is update day.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, big freaking update day.
Yep, the biggest. The baddest.
It also used to be Wii Shop Channel update day.
Is it tomorrow? Hang on. No, it
Well,
is not. It's in 1 week.
League update.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, League update is in a week.
there we go.
But Wednesdays were traditionally Wii Shop update day.
Thursdays were traditionally Navy Field Day. Navy Field would actually shut down at 7 p.m. or sorry, 10 p.m. local time,
All right,
and be down from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. the following day, and they would do all of their updates and maintenance every single week during that time, and then you would be up the rest of the week with the new patch.
I think that's good. I think I have that good.
Is the Twitch stream ready to go up or whatever?
It's already up. We're just...
Oh, are we live?
Yeah, we're live. They heard my rage over updates. It's lovable.
Would we'd like to post this in League streams once we have a game to watch?
Yep. I don't want to. You know, we'll give you. You know what? No, we're going back to the duck. The nice little ocean. You get to look over an ocean for right now. That's all you guys get. Glorious. Minimize that. You know what? I'm just gonna close you.
Stream's starting soon. It's just.
Yeah. Ocean. Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. Mute. hear you guys now.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello and welcome to game number 1 of QSL Season 3. I am Red Sniper 23. Joining me is Rectal the Jerbear himself. And on the camera, it is the man, the myth, the legend. It is Neptune. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Yeah.
We got a fun one tonight.
Yes, we do. Our first matchup of the season is a minor league matchup between the Ferrymen of the Underworld and Boonie Bois of the Boonie Gang organizations. This is going to be a fun one. Seeing some former Major League players from Season 2, seeing some new guys coming in, seeing a couple of minor league players from Season 2 as well. What are you expecting so far?
Oh, well, I mean, we talked about our predictions on the podcast, you and I, so, you know, I have a feeling that Ferrymen might put up a fight, but I think in the end it's going to be owned to the Boonie Boys.
And, well, we do that. You guys can discuss this first ban of... Not that. Nope. 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 Not picks. Fuck off.
First game.
Yeah, where is she?
P
So
for
as you
Persephone.
can see, it is well, hopefully it'll be on the screen shortly. There it is, Persephone. So
Yep.
Persephone is unbanned for competitive competition in the QSL, and that being said, she makes
She
her
hits like a
band
dump
debut.
truck.
Yeah.
She hits like a dump truck. And as we catch up with bands so far, it is picking up here. But Athena also taken off the table. Tsukiyomi, Gilgamesh, Set, and Tiamat going to be your first round of bands so far.
And
Pretty
that's, yeah,
standard
pretty,
so
pretty
far.
standard. Yeah, I would say pretty standard. A lot of people have been, checking to see if they let Gilg through. Some people think he's not that great for comp. Other people think, just raffle stomp people around the lane. But when it
And...
comes to the other bands, they're pretty standard. Like, they're all annoying people that you don't generally want to play against or with. Athena being the one that always comes to mind. Just she has so much presence. You have to do that. And then we see our first picks of the game as well come in. We have Chiron and Scylla. So Chiron has really come heavily back into the comp scene with Bluestone being very powerful. And he's been having a good time, especially if you're able to hit that dash, knock up, cancel into your autos. It can really hurt your enemies. And then we actually see an ADC mage coming up on the side of the Ferryman.
Yeah, so Soul being on the other end of that aspect, with both the Bluestone being very powerful, there's also been some stars that have aligned to allow the likes of Soul and Chronos to be very powerful at this time in the meta as well. And speaking of someone who you're either really good with or you just kind of figure out how to do it, but King Arthur, not shown a lot of love in the last patch. Definitely was nerfed, but is still strong enough that he is a force to be reckoned with in that Soul lane. If you know how to use him, he's very, very effective. But again, we'll see what happens, as it is going to be Yuri in that Soul lane piloting that King Arthur. And another pick coming up here for Boonie Boys, it is the Giannis coming in for the mid lane. So a classic matchup here, Scylla and Giannis going at it in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard mid lane. We see no bans coming out from either of them, targeting that Persephone out of there. So top tier picks coming in, and it'll be a fun time, obviously. But remember, Janice has the better map pressure. They both have good secures. Scylla, if she can combo right, can just be absurd, hitting all of those I'm a monsters. It'll be really fun to see how the mid lane shapes up and how it's going to be played in this first game.
And speaking of other lanes, to talk about, that solo lane has now been solidified. It's King Arthur against Sun Wukong. The monkey cudgel has come out and it hurts. We have seen it actually in season 2 as well, where that cudgel coming over the wall could potentially be an objective stealer. So we'll see if the ferrymen are going to be able to utilize that to great capability tonight. But looks like we're going to have the supports targeted, as well as Sobek and Ymir going to be banned, and then a ban of the Loki. So Sphinx expected in that jungle for the Boonie Boys, and it is a Loki ban. This is going to be an interesting one. I don't know if I've ever seen him play Loki. And it looks like the Thanatos also going to be banned away. So focusing the jungle.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
are the last
not
two roles for both teams that had yet to be selected, and so they both get banned in part 2 times on both sides. And then we see them immediately pick up the junglers, which look to be very exciting. I love a good Pele. She can really snowball, and depending on your support pick, it can have some combo potential. I know that one of my favorites to run is a Jingchan plus Pele. That can be a very interesting and fun time. But we're seeing a little bit of turnover here on the side of the Boonie Boys here. Not really sure what they want to pick up. They've so far hovered over Rats, and then Bakasura, and now Kali, and they're running out of bang time here. So it looks like they will solidify at least their support in Geb, the Rockman himself. And with the last second, they roll over to Rat. So, 2 very popular jungle picks. I think Kali and Bakasura aren't necessarily that popular, but would have been interesting either way. And as I said, Rockman here as their final pick of game 1. Not really quite sure how this fits into this comp.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. So the rat is very nice to have. You have a semi-global ultimate. The Giannis also gives that hyper mobility. Chiron is going to be able to utilize his dash and his ability to maneuver from the mid lane. King Arthur is going to be able to flex over, and again, that Giannis just allows that portal to come in out of nowhere because that's what he does. And then the Kepri coming in, an excellent pickup. There are no executes on the board, so you have a Kepri now to keep everyone alive and everybody safe. Looks like it's going to be great here across the board. So that being said, we'll see how this game shapes up.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to picking a team here, I'm going to go Boonie Boys over Ferrymen, because while we have seen a few mages coming into that ADC role, I still don't think they're as good as really any other standard damage ADC that you would come across. That's going to change when the big patch comes in, of course. Without boots, that makes those ADC mages, and especially those jungle mages, a lot more viable. But at the moment in time, I don't think they are the greatest going up against other kinds of ADCs, especially someone who's been rolling in as powerful as Chiron. But I'm willing to see if they change my mind, because there's a lot to like on the side of the Ferrymen as well. I'm really excited to see Raptor return to mid in full time, because last season we saw him switch to the carry role, and he was planning on being support this season, but has decided he will return to his main role. So we'll see if he's been able to get the dust off, so to speak, and that'll be exciting. And we'll also see how this matchup works out with Jeering versus Raptor, the double captain matchup.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a fun one. Jeering Lamb uh, on that mid role, not really a mid main, but has shown some prowess there. We'll see what happens. I think it could be a good balance, definitely a good battle. In the mid lane, I'm very interested, very interested to see what Yuri and Omega Bulldog are going to do to each other in that solo lane, though. That could be very fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. It's really exciting to see what Omega is going to be able to do because he was voted Majors Season 2 Most Improved Player. So maybe it feels like a step back for him that he has been put onto this minors team. So maybe he has a little bit of a drive here to prove that, maybe he's a lot better than what people may have estimated. So we'll see if he has some fire in his belly, so to speak, as we see these teams all stack up. It seems both teams rather, are going for the modified Season 8 start, where you see the junglers go for the yellow by themselves, and we see the solos go for the blue, and everything else is standard. So, nothing too crazy here, as Geb does get pulled by the Khepri a little bit low. They managed to hit level 2 way before the enemies are going to be able to hit their level 2 with Chiron just cresting that right now. So, bit of early pressure, but nothing too big here so far, as the junglers also meet in the mid lane. So
yeah, you know the Soul is the queen of early pressure, especially when she's played mid lane. And now having it up against a Chiron in that duo is definitely going to be a good battle. As Wukong's going to have to go into the 72 transformations to get out of there and just heal up a little bit. King Arthur trying with the overhead slash doesn't quite connect. But again, two very good players over there in the solo lane are going to try and keep each other within striking distance as the junglers begin their rotations as well. So we'll see how this continues. I'm already going to apologize for Neptune because I could just see it right now that we're going to be distracted by something else and somebody's going to get a kill instantaneously in the solo lane just because of how they're duking it out already.
Yeah, the solo lane slog, and you can only do so much on camera. We're not perfect. Can't watch the solo lane forever because we all know what the deal is. Two big men slapping each other 24/7 for the entire laning phase. But yeah, they are getting pretty low here, at least on the side of King Arthur. So Omega with a little bit of that early health-based pressure, but will not really have the kill potential yet. He might have to wait for a rotation by his jungler to really solidify a victory there. But the jungler for Order side is over here securing their purple, but I don't think they're really going to get a gank here, so that is a bit of wasted time. Those bat camps will be coming up for the rat, so he will be missing out on about 10 seconds-ish if he beelines over there, but it looks like he's not. So oracles will be cut down very quickly in short order as we crest the 3-minute mark. 2 minutes before we will see any scorpions on the map. But really not a lot of action anywhere to really speak of. Right, Red? Seems like a very quiet game thus far.
Yeah, it's kind of a basic get-to-know-you kind of game. It's a good game for week 1. Because again, these teams have maybe scrimmed with each other a couple times, but right after the draft, this is about it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this comfortability with each player is going to work here. Is your jungle and mid going to be able to effectively work together? Are your duo lanes going to be on the same page? When does the rotation happen? How does the rotation happen? All this stuff has to play into your understanding of the meta game here in the QSL, and gonna be able to see where the rotations are going to begin, because we're starting to see that the ultimates are coming online here, and now you're getting very low, and that King Arthur is going to be under tower, and here comes the Pele, going to peek real quick over at blue, trying to catch out Sphinx on the rat. There comes the blink, and the ultimate. Here we go.
Coming down, and the rat will die as we get first blood finally. Oh my, I was itching for that. I saw that Pele, she was peeking at that rat that whole time. She knew exactly where he was, and finally she's able to get that ultimate there. The perfect blink placement for the kill. It is a solo ultimate, but in the end, you got that first blood money, and you're feeling pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What
and especially that going on to a Pele in the jungle, too.
Yes, Pele, unchecked, can become a monster in the jungle. Rat can play good from either side, I believe, especially with the nature of his ultimate, you know, whether he's behind or ahead. But I think Pele from ahead is just unfun to deal with if you're the enemy team, because then you just have, like, if she gets CDRs down, you just have an ultimate down your throat just every, what would it be about that cooldown? Less than a minute. Like, just insane stuff right there. And when you get that on top of other stuff, like, it'll be pretty hard to deal with, because we do have two fiery gods on that side of this for Pokemon. We have a Soul and a Pele, so both ultimates that are kind of stacked together and are really interesting. You could kind of say that on Chaos side, they genuinely have a lot of just secure right there. I mean, you got the Soul, you got the Scylla, just insane stuff right there. But it seems once again the action has calmed down as the Scorpions spawn in minute 6 has since passed. Getting a lot of pressure again over here. Not a lot of kill potential still, but Sun Wukong really slapping around this KA. As we will see the Pele invading those back camps again, really trying to push this lead as Bad News Bears over Sphinx, and he's doing it pretty well. If we can slide back over to the item side, yeah, he doesn't have a XP lead yet, but we will see the Pele coming in for a big gank, finally going to get that kill potential, and that kill will happen, but Senpai Rar will pick up the return kill on to the Pele, and so this is a 1-for-1 shot here, a solo for a jungler.
And again,
But
trying to get that
hold
jungler
on.
ahead and keep that jungler ahead
Yeah,
as the
yeah.
rotation's coming over. And now Sphinx is able to pick up a 1-1, but still getting a little bit closer and has full Acorn done.
Yeah, that Acorn buy is huge, and we will see it being Thistlethorn here. So not going for the double flurry, but for that lovely burst damage there, which you can also respect. And Janice is going to simply be able to dodge that I'm a monster very calmly, with really quite a poise of him around him as that little exchange happens there. But
I mean,
once
at this
again,
point, I really like talking about builds and stuff like that, but everybody's going pretty standard so far. The Soul Eater on Wukong kind of giving a little bit
Woohoo.
more sustain, as the Giannis instead is going to get dropped by the Scylla. Yeah, that one, again, these instantaneous things just kind of, especially when you have a Scylla, which just does massive damage on one shot. I mean, and you got the Soul Laners playing with their health bars, you know, all the time. You're just not going to catch everything. But I would like to point out real quick that instead of going boots right away, because again, he does, as long as he sticks by walls, the Giannis does have a little bit more mobility. But he went Karen's coin already.
Yeah, so there are, you know, two flavors of builds that you see a lot. That early Karen's coin, we will see Raptor.exe falling here to Sphinx inside of the jungle. Big engagement. This is now a 3v2 in favor of the Chaos side, as Pele looking to deal more damage onto this Janice, and she will get her wish with Soul picking up the kill credit there. And once again, a bit of a massive engagement, as we also see the gold side Scorpion was picked up as part of that fight. So a Gold Fury will be spawning here right now. And so now the eyes of both teams will be glancing over to that Gold Fury pit here, as that will become the prize as we sort of get to this late laning phase. And we will see KA getting really close to finally picking up the return on the Sun, but just barely unable to, as we will see Soul dropping her ult onto this Chiron, but with his buddy there in the Rockman himself, Chiron will be very safe, and Soul will not be able to pick up a kill today onto the Horseman himself.
Yeah, as we see that gold and XP difference kind of slowly, gradually build in favor of the Ferrymen. Gonna be interesting to see what happens from this point forward, because again, the objectives are coming out. wards are being placed, and I really like the ward coverage coming out from the Ferrymen, especially near that objective of the Gold Fury. But they also have a couple near the Fire Giant pit, right by the Greater Scorpion there, which means if they do try and sneak it, if the Boonie boys try and sneak the Scorpion, they will have a very quick and clear path to the Gold Fury to try and take that in response. So again, looking at the meta picture,
And over in the solo lane, we see a significant amount of action coming here as the Janus ult did come in. It didn't quite hit a target, but that's 3 people currently sitting there in there. And Jeering Lamb, once again, is going to get picked up by Raptor with the I'm a Monster. It looked like finishing him off. Pele, though, finding herself between 3 big men right there in Geb Rats. Oh my god, what a great engagement. And once again, even though it was across the map, it's still a 1-for-1.
And again, even in that engagement, you saw the little ability here or the little toss there could have really swept that fight one way or the other. We did see Bad News Bears go down. Jeering Lamb went down in the middle lane. And you're starting to see the little things here and there trying to push the advantage. And Bad News Bears has extended now twice trying to get that advantage and has overextended twice and has paid for it each time. So you're not being able to kind of push that envelope how you want.
And
And
over in the solo lane.
speaking of pushing the envelope,
Yeah, we see Yuri falling here again to Omega. So again, Omega trying to maybe punch his card as the Season 2 most improved player here, putting a little bit more on the resume because Yuri is a tough dude to take down as Geb is going to get put in a CC chain here. He might still fall here with that Pele just keeping up, dealing all that damage. Chilla is going to use the I'm a Monster to basically say, hey, Kyron, get the hell out of here. And that is exactly what they're going to do. No secure for them at this point, though, but they could still very easily just go on to that Gold Fury. But Bacon Crumbs is going to be the next target here as they are just rolling through, taking names, as that is a 3-for-0 engagement and the freest Gold Fury you could possibly think of.
yeah, definitely there. And here comes the
try for the steal, but without knowledge of it, you're not going to really... It's a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
It's really a 50-50.
Well, they did have a ward there, so he did have vision. He just had the timing of it. And of course, it's always really, really tough to get that timing down just right with the Giannis, because he's got to charge that through space
yeah.
and time. So it's one of those things where you're kind of, you want
have to have,
but it's really tough. It's still at best a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, at this level, I mean, you just have to be mechanically on time, and that's, something that you might not see at this level of play, but still very close. Give credits where it's due. He managed to get it very close. I'm sure that the Ferrymen did kind of sweat it there a bit, but in the end, they do manage to pick it up. So, NBD. So we are seeing a sizable lead starting to form in favor of the Ferrymen. If we take a look at the graphs, we see 5k XP and nearly 5k in gold as well. So really big advantage, especially coming off of that Gold Fury. So now we're just going to see what they want to do with it. And KA is going to opt to blink past 2 people in a very interesting move to get him back to where he is within. And we see very interesting stuff happening over here as, sadly, another kill missed off of camera. Unfortunate for Neptune. But the Soul is the one that's on the bad end of that trade that time. So Kyron's still trying to make sure that he's able to stay in this video game and not let every lane be an absolute cluster for his team. So perhaps a diamond in the rough there, so to speak, as we see a massive grouping at mid of many, many bodies on both sides. Very interesting movement. It looks like these teams are looking to pick a fight and go for this Scorpion here. I'm not quite sure which team is going to be able to come out on top, but we will see Geb popping that ultimate and just everyone using everything they possibly can onto that Sun Wukong here, but Sun Wukong still has his ultimate, so he's able to go up into the cloud and say, hey, I'm safe up here. I'm just going to jump away from this battle and let my body double do some work.
Yeah, it looks like Aegis was popped by the Chiron there in that fight. And the Ferrymen are going to pick up the Fire Scorpion there. So blue buff and speed buff will be empowered at this point. And taking a look real quick, you talked about the XP disparity. 2 levels in the solo, even in the jungle, 1 level in mid, 1 level now in support, and 2 in the
Ooh, a very close exchange, and the rat is going to get the bad end of that with an excellently placed root there by Raptor. What a play. But yeah, big advantages coming out here by the Ferrymen. I might have to eat my words here on my predictions here, as they just seem to be playing non-stop in a clinic here, putting up 10 kills here, just having insane pressure in all lanes and making sure they can get that pressure through the jungle as well to pick up objectives. They're really playing very well. You can see that Ferrymen are definitely a squad that has been practicing a lot with each other, because their coordination just seems to be the key difference here, in my opinion. Just knowing what they're going for and then executing that plan.
Yep, and not only executing it, but executing it effectively too. And making sure that not only are people in the right spots, but the right people are in those spots. So making sure that they have a carry available, making sure that the soul is making her rotations, making sure that everybody is grouped up in one particular spot so that it's not just a 3v3 fight or a 4v3 fight, but that they're truly going in with as much power as they can to gain those advantages on things. Fire
Yeah, and this
Giants
is
is now
being,
up.
this is a very precise play, as we do see the teams here going onto the back line. A big dive there as Raptor will pick up the kill onto Jeering Land. Once again, Raptor showing that maybe that rust has finally worn off, and Sphinx is going to be the next one to go to. Currently a 2-0 fight in favor of the Ferrymen. We might see a couple more kills popping up here if they so choose, and the next target is the Rockman. The Chiron saying, seems like a bad idea. I think I'll just walk away. The same thing for KA, and as we hit the 17-minute, 30-second mark, they think about a little bit miscommunication. They think about small, but they end up going for big, which I think in this position is the right call. But KA is lying in wait for a steal, perhaps, and he does manage to get in. It looks like the Ferrymen are going to be forced to drop as Bad News Bears gets absolutely bursted down. Where'd that health bar go? But KA will get a return kill, and eventually, finally, the Ferrymen will pick it up. The Janusol does not manage to steal it once again. But a very good engagement. But we will see another kill there, and that is now, it's hard to keep track of at this point. What would it be? 3 for 1 at this point? Somewhere around there?
Ultimately, it has been 3 for 1 total. But man, this one is so tough right now. It's 3 for 1 plus a Fire Giant. I mean, that's the big thing, is the Fire Giant pickup this early in the game allows them to push the lead that they already have. So they're going to be able to back, they're going to be able to buy up items, make sure they complete things. I mean, Scylla just got her soul gem. So she's going to be swinging.
Yeah. I mean, that back is huge, and that Fire Giant is huge. And the bad part is that even though you got one person off of the buff by killing off Bad News Bears, that's only the jungler. You still have to worry about Soul and the rest of that squad, so they're still going to be pretty fine when it comes to taking down any of the objectives on the map. That is a small light in the darkness that was that fight, but yeah, I mean, this is just becoming an out-of-control arena game, unfortunately, for the Order side here. It's just not really working out too well.
Yeah, Boonie Boy's having a tough go of it. I mean, they do have a sub in for their solo laner. Niall was not able to make it. He was supposed to be mid, so they had to mix a couple things around. But even then, with that, as hard as things are, I wasn't expecting necessarily this. But maybe it could just be first game jitters. You never know. It could just be first game jitters. We'll see how things go. But right now, 15-5 our score, 20 minutes in. and a fire giant already on the waist of the ferryman. So this one
Yeah.
here, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very tough for them to come back from essentially a 9K, just almost a 9K deficit in gold. And it's gonna be 8,600 and 10K XP. So again, they're playing for that late game. They're trying to hold on to what they can and see if they can even up some of those level differences.
As
But
we do see
King
a
Arthur ain't gonna
KA
do that into
move
4.
in to that fight right there, but getting pulled immediately by the Kepler. We will see through space and time being used, but I don't think it really hit anybody there as this fight sort of labors on, and KA will be the first one to die here, trying to find small advantages, but instead finding the fact that this level and gold difference is becoming an insurmountable challenge here, as we do see a couple more members fall there. That is a 3-for-0, and that is certainly not what you want to see. You don't even get a single kill with that Soul getting pretty low at one point, Kepri getting pretty low, and this is going to be a free tier 2 and possibly even a free bird right here, just when it comes to the timing. So this is a very rough play here. I don't think that they will be able to end the Ferrymen, but this is still putting you in an even worse hole when it comes to if you are a fan or on the team of Boonie Boys.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very tough here. Now, as they do this, they'll finish it up. They'll probably grab this tier 2 if they want to be on the safe side and go for the other tier 2. They could try and push this advantage a little bit more, but I don't think so. They'll probably just get the tier 2 and then move on to the left lane. Especially with the fire giant buff expiring shortly.
Yeah, I mean the buff. Yeah, just in time. The fire giant buff goes off. So yeah, I mean maybe not a tier 2 sweep because you're going to want to set up around the fire giant pit, as the timer is at 40 seconds. So taking all the farm you can get, resetting, and then getting to that pit is going to really be the objective here. If you are the Ferrymen and if you're the Boonie Boys, it's try and salvage any farm you can. Maybe try and defend that FG, but truly it's going to be very tough. I would possibly look for maybe just a pick if you can manage it and go from there. But
yeah, especially if you could pick off somebody like the Scylla or pick off the Sun Wukong. I know it's going to be really hard to get the Wukong, but the Scylla and the Soul are probably your 2 biggest threats right now. Yes, Pele can dive the backline, but she's going for a mantle or something like that. Definitely a little bit more tanky of a build. So you definitely need to get rid of the damage dealers. Get rid of that Soul. Get rid of the Scylla. Try and build some more magical defense somehow. Geb did go Pestilence.
Yeah,
which is
the anti-heal is huge. Actually, like if you look at everybody on that team, so much healing. You have Soul Eater on 2 different people. You have Soul Gem, and then you have that Typhon's Fang. Like anti-heal. Yeah, if you are the Boonie Boys, you should have been thinking about anti-heal a long time ago, and it really hasn't come up for them. Really only 1 item so far. Possibly a misplay here. Maybe just trying to go for more damage or more sustain, but anti-heal would have been a pretty massive pickup here. As this fight does begin, the defense starts, but Bacon Crumbs will be the first one to fall, and next is Sphinx. This is a fight to end potentially here, as we do see it labor on. This Geb is caught in the CC chain, and he will eventually fall. Sun Wukong going to chase after the Janus in that tiger form, manage to get the stun, and then the ultimate will be enough to make Jeering Lamb fall to KA, rushing to the fountain, but he's unable to make it, and that's going to be a Game 1 deicide finish for the Ferrymen as they pick up the first win of QSL Season 3. Game win, not set win.
Yeah, the first game victory of Season 3 goes to the Ferrymen. 23-5, our final score. 24 minutes, 21 seconds. Kudos to both sides for leaping into this one, but man, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Omega Bulldog went 6-0-6. I mean, 6-0-6. You know, Soul went 8-1-6. Scylla went 7-1-6. Kudos to both the Sun Wukong and the Khepri. Yeah, I have to give credit to Herc. He played his brains out on that Khepri. 0-16. But I think the better thing is he was trying to protect his backliners, his Scylla and his Soul. And he did that. The only Soul death came in a solo. The only Scylla death came when Scylla dived. Or dove. Pele was diving, and that's why she has 3 deaths. But when they played front to back, when they played in that nice 5-man team fight, Khepri and Wukong were doing what they do best. Wukong was W King, and Khepri was keeping his backliners alive, and they were able to free cast without a problem. Kudos to the Ferrymen for playing that well in game 1.
Yeah, you can definitely see here it was highly coordinated. The scrims that they've been doing certainly showing dividends now. They played a phenomenal game. There's really not much to say. I mean, it's not necessarily that they're more mechanically excellent. That was just excellent coordination, excellent team play, having forethought. And I mean, I talked about the other team not buying anti-heal. Maybe it was more or less recognition that they didn't think that they were going to build anti-heal. And so Ferryman said, okay, well, everyone's going to heal now.
Yep.
You got 2 Soul Eaters, you get a Caduceus shield, you get a Soul Gem, you get Typhon's Fang, like you get all that, plus the pickup with that Stone of Gaia, like all of that health.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now, and you've got a Pestilence, you've got a Divine
the
Ruin,
details?
and Chiron was just getting the beat stick on the brawlers. So the anti-heal really didn't come on, first of all, when it needed to. I gotta do this too, because this is just me. Kudos to Sphinx. 20 wards placed. 20.
Batman was placing wards.
He had Chalice. He had Ward Chalice, by the way. And he got the most value out of it that I think I've seen anybody get out of it. But that being said, he threw down a bunch of wards, and his team should have been able to know. They had the information. He had the wards down. So I got to give him credit for that. But on the other side, it's much more even across the board. 10, 11, 13. I mean, they were warding each one of them. So, yeah, okay, fine. Louis with the 8, but it's a soul. You spend your money on items. You don't do that with a carry. It's
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
kudos across the board, and 21k. Yeah, I was gonna say 21k player damage by Omega.
He was
Normally,
schlapping.
yes, it's already elevated because it's a solo laner, whatever, right? But to go almost 7k more than the soul, actually, yeah, 7,500 more than the soul, and that was your quote unquote carry. Kudos, man, just kudos. Yeah. So, and by the way, just to advise, so our predictions on the podcast, which by the way, go look up the QSL podcast on Spotify. You will see the first episode of season 3 of the QSL podcast on there. Or you can look up our YouTube channel for Quack and Smite League, and it will be there as well. But our predictions, Mr. Jerbear, were 2-1 in favor of the Ferrymen. So we might not be able to get it. We might not be right here, as if it goes 2-0 Ferrymen, we would be wrong. So Boonie Boy's got to pick up 1 here.
Yeah. Nobody said 2-0 in either direction.
Yeah.
We certainly will see what happens if the Boonie Boys are able to reel it back in and get some schlaps here and be like, hey, come on, let's pull it together. Let's be a little bit more coordinated. Let's get some more ganks on the side lanes. Let's not let Omega get completely out of control. Let's not let the jungle just run into your back camps 2 or 3 times and just get everything and even get a pick on you at one point. Um, maybe clean up a little bit that mid play. Jeering, of course, he's a serviceable mid, but it seems Raptor's really picked up his practice here. So
Mm-hmm.
Raptor might be looking for a standout season here. A lot
Yeah,
of factors at
I
play.
know. I know. Raptor kind of called me out after the podcast episode, saying that you guys really didn't give us enough credit. But just to remind you guys, Hercules and I, playing in these two roles, went to the season 1 championship. So I guess since they're back in their comfort roles and they're in their comfort areas with, we'll see what happens, but they're expecting to do great things. And I said it before, the Ferrymen were indeed my sort of dark horse, the ones that you kind of got to be wary of at the beginning of this season. And so far, they're saying, screw the dark horse thing. We want to lead from the front. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see what happens. Of course, we're not going to know a whole lot about standings until we get a couple weeks in. But again, this season is 1, very short, and 2, each team only plays each other 1 time. So the stakes are high every single week. Because if you don't really show up mentally 1 week against a middling or bad team, there's not a lot that separates each team in terms of skill. You drop a set, you drop a placement in playoffs, you get a bad seed, you end up getting rolled by somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very careful to not let this head game completely burn you away. You have to play each game with all of your might, play each game as if it was the last, but most importantly, of course, have fun because this is the QSL.
Absolutely. And you are absolutely correct. We only have a 7-week regular season. Each of these teams only gets to play 7 times before playoffs. So if you lose right away, the best you can expect is a number 2 seed. So we'll see what happens. This is a lot of again, I know I'm saying let's see what happens here a lot tonight, but it's only week 1. There's not a lot that we can really determine. I mean, who knows? Ferrymen just might be playing out of their skin. Boonie Boys might be a completely different team when Tubby Follower Nile is in the seat in the mid lane. Um, you never know how these things are going to pan out, but game 1, week 1, advantage Ferryman, and everybody else is chasing at this point. So,
Yeah, I
looking
mean,
forward though to game number 2 here.
oh yeah, for sure. And what I was going to say is I was looking through our community tier list, which by the way, if you have a tier list, go ahead. There seems to be only one so far that is for the miners, and the ferrymen were picked 5th here, with the Boonie Boys taking the 4th place spot. So
Yeah,
perhaps
I
that,
haven't released mine yet. It is done, but I have not released mine yet. It will be coming up hopefully in the next couple days.
geez,
I've had some real life issues that have kind of kept me from doing that.
Red just teasing us here, just giving us the slow tease of all the content coming out.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Telly's already saying hashtag release the red tier list. um, let me put it this way, gentlemen. It's I have a full tier list and power list rankings for both majors and minors, so you will be able to see it. We'll see what happens. I'm looking towards the end of the week right now, Thursday, Friday, just because of things I have to get done in my in my day-to-day life. But really looking forward to game number 2 right now, just to see what happens and how this set is going to play away. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm so looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, just remember, everyone here, we don't get paid. This is volunteering.
Yep.
So we try and have fun here. This is not a place to sweats, of course. This is a place to chill, and you got to give credit where credit's due. Red obviously does a fantastic job. He ran the draft. He's gonna give us some tier lists too. He's here casting with me tonight. and of course the standard moderator duties that we all share together. So, um,
Oh yeah,
but
we got mod booth tonight. I forgot. We got a total mod booth.
yeah,
This is awesome.
100% mod. Oops, all
Oh
mod.
man. Mod all the time.
Yeah, mod div
At
does in
least in the
fact
booth,
exist.
yes.
Not between
But
us.
by the way, you might want to give the Ferrymen credit for game number 1, just to let you know, Neptune. Not on your display screen. Hey, there it is. Okay, Zero's already calling out mod diff. You don't get to call mod diff before you haven't played your first game, Zero. Don't give me that.
I love my captain.
You,
He's a great
you
dude.
take your mod diff somewhere else. Yeah, that's another thing. So we've got almost every other mod has some involvement as an owner. Neptune, as you know, is the owner of the Obsidian Kingdom, or part owner of the Obsidian Kingdom. You have Jerbear here, who is part owner of the High Rollers. Which interesting story. I actually didn't realize up until a couple weeks ago that both of your teams were actually named after roller coasters. I thought, wow, that's a really cool thing on like on the scythe of the Pittsburgh Phantoms, and then I'm like, wait a second, that looks like a roller coaster car thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's roller
yeah.
coasters. Oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, to have a little
So,
insight here, a little aside from our currently casted teams. Yeah, the High Rollers are based on real life roller coasters. The Phantom's Revenge is a real coaster at Kennywood in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the Fury 325 is a real life roller coaster at Carowinds in Charlotte,
ah,
North Carolina. So they are both based
okay.
off of real life roller coasters that you can visit if you are near and around the East Coast. So,
Zero
but
saying it was Joe's idea.
yeah, I mean, I had the idea for some of the names, and Joe was like, "Hey, why don't we make a roller coaster theme?" And I was like, "Okay." Um, as we do
Nice.
see the game beginning, P's and B's coming in, and we're seeing a lot of the same already. Gilgamesh off the table and
We're talking
Persephone.
peas, not we're talking bees, not peas yet. Neptune.
Yes.
He really wants to get into those picks right away, but we got to get into the bands first. As Gilga and Perseph getting taken away, just like game
Imagine,
1, just like game
imagine,
1.
yeah. Imagine though. Imagine for a second. This is an interesting headcanon now. What if in the Smite, the first two things you did is that you had just two top picks, no bans? That would be absolute
Oh,
insanity. That should be
oh,
a game mode.
you get 2 picks. Each team gets to pick their first player. So top off the left, top off the right. Then you get your 3 bands, and then it goes 2, 3, or it goes 2, 2. Then you get your 2 bands, and then you go as normal. But that would
Yeah.
be nuts. You get
That
2 broken picks right off the bat.
yeah, like you'd see Set and Persephone all the time,
Oh my
Gilgamesh,
goodness. Oh,
Athena.
gee whiz.
It'd be hilarious. That should be a game mode. Obviously
At
not
the
for competitive play, but
in season 2, you would see literally nothing but Athena Apollo everywhere. Oh
that's a
my
nightmare I'd
goodness.
rather not revisit.
No, that is not something that I would wish upon anyone. As Tiamat going to be the final ban for Boonie Boys, by the way. As Persephone, Athena, and Tiamat go away, as do Set,
I'm a
Tsukiyomi, and
monster!
Gilgamesh on
Isn't this the
the
exact
family of
same
Ferrymen.
bands that we had game one?
Uh,
Not necessarily in the
cor-
same order.
not in the same order. I believe it is correct that it is in the same bands. However, this one, we have Scylla
Supernova!
being picked up by the Ferrymen, Soul being picked up by the Boonie Boys and it's getting spicy in here. That
The
is a
Bro Poseidon.
Poseidon. That is the Bro Poseidon coming on the side of the Boonie Boys. And now that means that the Chiron is going to be over in the side of the Ferryman. So the Soul, they saw the damage it could do. They really wanted it. So instead of the Chiron, they go for the Soul. And now the Chiron slides over to the Ferryman, forcing a little bit more diversity, you could say, in the build path of Boonie Boys, now having a physical carry, as well as a Scylla to do magical damage. Whereas Poseidon and Soul so far, very much a magical comp, and we're gonna see it run back. Of course, there is the Wukong for the side of the Ferrymen.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of interesting comp here. And I really, really like these ADCs now because basically it's okay, I saw you play it. Now we're gonna see if I can do better for both players. That's a very, very exciting pick to see. So we will get to answer the question, who is the better Chiron? Who is the better soul? And we see a fun pickup here as well. So we saw the Bro sign come in as the first pick for that team, and now we're seeing the Loki coming in as well. So a lot of fun stuff here to be had as we do see the next two bands come up, the Sobek followed by the King Arthur. So there will not be a run back of the King Arthur in this game. There will be a new solo laner that will be seen. But in the end, already, this is a very, very, very fun draft.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear myself. And the final two bands do come in. So we see the Big Doggo and Kokolin out of the way. I'm surprised Kokolin really has dropped that far in terms of getting banned. And
Yeah,
Kepri coming out.
I'm guessing it's probably just the comfort level that Omega has on the Wukong. Especially going up against Yuri. I know he wants to be on something a little bit more comfortable. But that being said, Kokolin is an excellent team fight god. Getting that dispersion, making sure that everything's out, and so you were just saying anything you can do, I can do better. Well, looks like we have the Chiron Geb now in the hands of Ferrymen.
And Hercules getting to be the final pickup in this spicy draft. We're gonna see Achilles versus Loki in the jungle, I think, and a Herc. No, that's not a Herc support. That's a Herc. Herc going where? Yeah, solo. Yeah, yeah. This is a crazy game that we're about to see.
Just click it and hit H. It will take you to the
Say
H's.
my name three
Yeah,
times
drop down
fast,
boxes can
and
allow
I'll
for
punch
typing.
in
You
the
just
face.
go in and you type.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a very fun draft. I don't even want to pick a favorite team here in terms of it because there's just so much stuff that you don't see terribly often. So it's really hard to pick out a favorite here. You can try it if you want to, Rad, but I'm just excited to see what's happening.
I'm just excited to see Sphinx on this Loki to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah.
to be honest, if I'm looking at it right now, I really, really like Ferryman. I'm not so thrilled with Boonie Boys. Maybe it's a comfort level thing. Maybe they like those gods a little bit more. But if I'm going just straight for a front to back team fight, I'm looking in favor of the Ferryman. So we'll see what happens here. But I'm leaning that way right now. So I'm leaning for a 2-0.
Making all of our predictions wrong. Come on, Red.
Yeah, I know.
There's money to be had. The bets are on the table. You might not know it, but the bets are there. Someone has to win the predictions, and we can't all be losing. But with that said, we are going to, I guess, really see. Of course, yeah, I do really like the Ferrymen's potential here with Raptor once again on a very comfortable mid pick. And yeah, there we go. We finally get it resolved. So, and the Brosidon here is going to be a fun one, of course. Not necessarily meta, but certainly fun as hell to play and fun as hell to watch. We will see who here will truly be hitting and whiffing Krakens. Shout out to Gary. He is no longer with us. He didn't die. He's just not QSL anymore. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see how it all shapes up. Again, mirroring game one with the ADCs. We're seeing Kepri here and the Rockman as well. It's really just the jungle and the Soul Lane that's going to be having all the fun here with these picks. I'm really excited to see what Yuri is going to be able to do on that Hercules. He maybe wants to have a bit of a bounce back instead of playing defensively, play a little bit more aggressively into Omega, possibly show him a little bit of his stuff. After all, Yuri is a seasoned player in the QSL, been here for a very long time, so it'll definitely be a fight for the ages as the camps spawn and the minions spawn and they hit at the middle of the map. Game 2 of the Boonie Boys versus the Ferrymen begins. Yeah, Red has had to take a bit of a step out of the booth, so there might be some dead air here and there, especially with the beginning of the game, of course. You know, if this is anything like Game 1, we're not going to see a first blood until a good few minutes into the game. Yeah, it's a little bit... Uh-oh. Stasis mode. No, you would have been sitting in the Pixen much longer. So, low spectate is on. I did hear that the Smite servers were having a bit of a problem today, as we do see stasis mode comes off and Omega very, very low here early on, in the solo lane slog. But yeah, check over at the duo lane. Kipri's getting very, very low, but he looks like he will be able to get out. A little bit of pressure here and there. We are seeing a full rotation here onto the oracles here by the jungle and the mid lane. Achilles is going to get here slightly too late to really do anything about it. As the action sort of dies down, Kepri managing to stay in there. There's pots, of course. Gotta buy pots. Always and forever. But yeah, just like game 1, not a lot of action going on. Alright, sorry about that. Yeah, pretty much exactly like game 1. Not much going.
Well, I am glad, at least for a little bit of stasis mode, because it means I didn't miss much. But I am back in the booth now, so...
It's good to have you back, because we do see a significant amount of damage come out in additional stasis mode. Red comes and just enables the stasis.
I enable the stasis, yes.
He is the stasis man, but that was some damage coming onto that Chiron.
Yep.
A little bit crazy there. So yeah, it looks like the server, the true high-res diff coming in here. We most likely, that is the second, but probably not the last, and Kepri just barely missing the damage there as the level 3. He will have all of the abilities, so he used it, wasn't able to get the kill, but very, very close, as we do see a red buff invade coming in here by the Ferrymen, and they do actually manage to pick it up. So that's a pretty big deal there. Your Poseidon is now without his red buff. He is without the XP and gold from red buff. But we are going to see a big rotation here by everyone at that mid lane. And they're going to come in, but that will be a death for Arisen, the first blood of this game. And a big, I forget the number of that ability, the Loki ability that makes your screen go a wibbly wobbly, comes in, but unable to really get a kill. So a huge rotation, but they get
agonizing
nothing out
visions. There
agonizing visions.
It is definitely an agonizing vision because it is just a pain in the butt every time it shows up.
Yeah, it's like whenever you drink in a game, like, you know, any of them, that stupid wibbly wobbly effect, you know?
Yep.
Like, it just makes you feel more nauseous than if you were actually drunk.
Oh, yes, it definitely, you are absolutely correct. As we go back into stasis mode for a little bit.
Kraken Stasis League.
Kraken Stasis League, yep. The absolute insanity that is Sea of Thieves, I've been playing in the last couple of weeks, doing some of the brand new Tall Tales that have been released, and every single time I'm in a bar, I drain the whole cup of grog, and of course, how do they simulate you're drunk? they make you literally uncontrollable in the game. You start walking off without any control whatsoever.
Yeah, which that's not quite the experience, but close enough, I guess, when it comes to video games. I wonder
Yeah.
how VR drunk we'll be eventually if we're able to get
Oh
like
my
full
goodness.
virtual reality. That'd be insane. But we do see that the duo lane picks up 2 purple buffs for themselves, so big invades coming here on the side of Ferrymen. They're feeling very, very confident. As Yuri coming in, trying to get the kill onto Omega, but the bull form will be used in order for him to get out, but watch out. Yuri is still hungry for blood. You're going to have to stay far away from your minions there. Not really getting all of the XP and gold that you'd like. But that's a pretty big deal there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, last game we saw that King Arthur was just getting pushed around by the Sun Wukong, and now we see the reverse. You see you see Omega having to take measured steps on this Sun Wukong and just try somehow to gain what little XP he can, as Yuri is not allowing him to do much.
Yeah, right now I can definitely feel for Omega because that's happened for me before whenever I get, eventually shuttered into solo for some god-awful reason as we do enter a stasis mode again. I'm just like pushed under tower like, please, I don't want to be here. I hate solo lane. But we do see that Sun is going into his ultimate as we speak. Is that a Sun? Oh, so that's the copy that has now spawned and we see him in the cloud. The copy is just chilling there. Interesting animation as the stasis mode comes off. So, using that ultimate basically just to farm in your lane. Not exactly what you want to see, but we are going to see a bit of pressure coming here. The jungler is going to pay a visit as well as the support. This is going to be a 3-man gank onto Yuri. The blink coming in. Adrian is going to try and walk it off as the big Geb ult comes in. And, an almost secure with the execute, but he's able to heal it up. But in the end, still the kill comes down, and Yuri falls as the second death of the game as we just get to the 6-minute mark. Yeah, this is what it feels like to be a crab. This is what it feels like to be if you're from Maryland.
Wouldn't
Because
those
they
be
love crabs.
blue, though?
What's supposed to be blue?
Aren't the crabs like the prize crabs in Maryland? Aren't they blue crabs? Maryland blue crabs?
I don't know, but all I know is that they love crabs so much that they frequently mix their flag with crab.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. As Bacon Crumbs is gonna fall, the soul going to eat it from the Chiron as he has trans online already. And we go into stasis mode. Now, this is a debate, and I'm going to point this out right now since we're in stasis mode and I can do this. So here's the great debate. Do you go boots first or do you go transcendence first? So you rush the trans. Some people are more in line with we go boots, make sure I have the mobility, make sure I can stay safe. There are those that are more aggressive that like to say, no, I want the power. I want to get the stacks online. I'll play a little bit further back. I'll play a little bit safer when it comes to positioning. As speaking of which, Kepri was around the corner. He was spotted out. There was a ward right there. But good eyes out from the Geb. But so do you go with boots or do you go with transcendence? Let us know in the comments, in the chat there.
Yeah, it's especially important you get your responses in quickly because Boots will be gone from the game in a week. So that debate will be done and over with as you will just simply be getting trans as the Ferrymen are picking up the kill of the Scorpion and Adrian once again falling here to 1 billion ganks. His Loki was there but was really unable to save his life. And so that is a dead man there. So we sit at 4-0. A small lead of approximately 3k gold, probably about the same in XP if I were to take a guess. So once again, the Ferrymen are feeling very confident, and the unthinkable might happen. Our predictions might be wrong here, and we'll see a...
Risen's about to die in the solo lane.
Yep,
there it is. As
we
the
might
crab
be seeing
is
a
on
pretty
a
big
plate.
sweep.
Yep. And
Yeah.
stasis mode one more time.
Well, luckily, if this is a 2-0, the stasis mode won't affect the time because it'll feel like we have watched 3 games because it'll be a game worth of stasis.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
Running into a
Awful.
wall backwards sounds good.
Awful. Horrendous. To be
Can
a
anyone
Loki player
explain
is
to
be
me
scum.
Rat mid-season speed buff to his acorn? Yes. Okay. So the mid-season buff. Actually, I'll tell you what. In the next stasis mode, I'll tell you about that, Goat Boy, because I know the answer to that one for you.
Yeah. Rat's gonna be a speedy boy in this incoming meta. He's gonna be fast as frick.
This game has more stasis than detail.
This is wild. We do see a blue buff invade, a smart play there, but Jeering is going to fall to, what was that? A rotation by the
that was a
Chiron
rotation
here.
from the Chiron. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's able to afford to do that. Obviously, he's sitting at 1 level ahead. He now has 3 kills, so he's sitting pretty. They're just really putting pressure everywhere. They're feeling so good right now. They're just like, you know what? Let's get these rotations to the side lanes and really let mid be whatever, and let our people in the side lanes rotate to the mid lane. So they're really just having a good time as the Achilles is going to invade in return those bat camps and find himself a very tasty jungler there. A fun meal indeed for the whole family.
Yeah, now we're starting to see the punishment coming through. The Achilles is getting the opponent's speed buff now. That is a very deep invade. 7 kills to 0. About a 3k, looks like 3,300 gold difference right now, which
Ooh,
9.5 minutes
mode.
in.
I'm going to go get water, so you explain
Okay.
that rat speed buff.
Okay, so stasis mode. Here we go. So Goat Boy asked the question, can anybody explain to me mid-season speed buff to his acorn? So the current speed buff is 18%, so because it mimics the boots. That is going to be taken away. As you build the acorn, you will get a 2%, then a 3%, or sorry, a 2%, a 6%, and then an 8% speed buff. So at full build, the acorn will be a quote-unquote movement speed item at 8% of an increase. So you are still going to have the standard movement increase where you will be getting 18% movement. Yeah, it's actually 20 right now for acorn. But so he will be getting the standard 18% at level 7, but he will be getting up to, I believe it's another 8% total between the 3 levels, if I remember that correctly. But it only starts out at 2, then it goes up to 3, and then goes up from there. Or 2, 6, and 8. 2, 3, and 8, or 2, 6, and 8, something like that. But it will act like the blades for the warriors, essentially. As we are back out of stasis mode now, and we have Tiger form coming in. The 72 transformations will now be utilized to stun the Hercules just for a little bit. And again, we've got Loki, who's standing right there behind a rock, trying to gain what ganks he can. Not being the most successful at it, sadly.
Yeah, just a little bit of corner baiting.
Yeah, 2 levels behind right now in that jungle, trying to look for farm, and he's not being able to get it. The Chiron is staying under tower. Again, plenty of wards in that area for the side of the Boonie boys and the more stasis mode. Because, man,
Ba-dum-bum.
don't you just love high-res servers?
Yeah, but we did get to see magical 11-11. Everyone, make a wish. That is 11-11. You do have time
It is
to make
11-11, yes.
So, but yeah, as a jungler, you know, like when you visit the dual lane, you definitely want to get something out of it, and whenever you don't, it kind of sucks. So, you know, trying to get that kill, isn't able to get it. Trying to find the small advantages, but they're very, very difficult in that position for sure. As a huge rotation here, and Loki's gonna get squished by a ton of bodies here. Sorry. Oh, God.
Ooh, I'm a monster coming out, and Raptor will pick up Sphinx. The Loki will fall one more time. The Crush comes out, and that is a lot of damage. Poseidon will fall, but the Kepri ult will save him. The Chiron, however, firing, just missing the 3rd one, and Kepri will stay alive. Poseidon just barely hanging on to a thread of life. And the dive is not going to come through. So Jeering and Arisen will get out of there just barely alive. And Senpai also, Yuri being driven to the back of his tier 1 by Omega. And he is going to heal up, and he will use his combo to get the Wukong under the tower. Cudgel coming through as well, but again, that mitigate wounds is going to keep him healthy in solo lane. 3-man rotation over will secure the Scorpion to enhance the buffs on the purple and red side of things.
Yeah, and
But
they also
that-
managed to get the Gold Fury while we were hanging out in the
Oh,
solo
yes.
lane as well. So that is
But
the
it's
first
okay
objective.
because, you know, stasis mode.
Yeah, Neptune, can we get the check mark there clicked? Next to the bands. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. We do get more information. Hi-Res finally fixed it, so we do get the timers, and we also get who has killed it how many times. So the 2 blue there indicates that Order side managed to pick up the Scorpion and also secure the Fury. So that is what has happened thus far. It's very, very nice that they finally fixed it, because it's been broken since Season 8 started.
Yeah, since Season 2 of QSL. Oh, okay, so that's where I got it from. Okay, so to give you the exact things, Goat Boy, Magic Acorn will start at 2%, the tier 2s will go to 4%, and then the final Acorns will be at 6% movement speed. So it goes from 20 to 6, 10 to 4, and 8 to 2. So you get a decrease of 6% in the first 2 ranks, and then a decrease of 14 in the third.
Yeah, but still, movement speed now is a hot commodity now that you can't buy boots. And I've said before, I've talked about with a lot of people, I think movement speed is actually the most important stat in the game over any power, over any prots. Just how fast you're able to move indicates so many things, especially in the Season 8 map where it's massive.
Yeah, but you're a
So
jungler.
it's super important if you're a jungler. Like, yeah, that'll be huge, and we will see how that comes to play when we get to switch over to that meta.
Oh, he's getting buffed in midseason. Yeah, so it's a small buff as compensation because you're not going to be able to get that the advantage, quote unquote. That's what Hi-Rez was saying during the mid-season show, is that he would get the advantage because he would be able to buy his Acorn anywhere, and he was going to be able to buy that Acorn to get boots and then a little bit more. So now, yeah, they were saying that this is kind of compensating, quote unquote, for that lack of having that lack of advantage now.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're gonna see how Hi-Rez feels about it, and how well Rat plays, because if it turns out that it has no point now because boots are gone, as we do see Raptor running at W King, if you will, Jeering Lamb picking up the 9th kill of the game and the 9th kill for their team, as we do see a bit more of an invade here and a big cataclysm coming down by the Geb, trying to pick up this Khepri. Sphinx is going to fall in the extension of this fight all the way across the map. The stasis mode, coming in. But yeah, as I was saying with Rat, it's certainly a big question with removing boots. Now, what do you do with his Acorn, which is essentially a boots? We might see a bit of a rework happening if Hi-Rez does not like the results. So, yeah, very, very crazy, this new patch with no more boots.
It definitely will change the It will change the fundamental structure of the game. I mean, ever since the very beginning, you've had boots. Now we're making this completely unique. No more boots. No more movement.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the most unique things about Smite over the other MOBAs, is that there are boots in pretty much every single one. Like there's a movement speed thing for every single MOBA, I'm pretty sure. And now there's not going to be one in this game. So, interesting to see, and it also makes Smite a little bit more unique. As sort of the action kind of dies down, the Ferrymen really are just like pushing advantages everywhere through the jungle, and really as we crest the 16-minute mark, now the eyes are going to be onto this right side Scorpion, so they're going to want to get a pick. Well, actually, it's not the Ferrymen that are looking for a pick here. It's the Boonie boys trying to see if they can pick off this Sun Wukong here. Finally, trying to get Omega to die as we see big rotation. Of course, we will see in-kind a rotation by his team. And so now this fight extends over the Scorpion here. And I think both squads have realized this and they don't want to really engage as, yet again, the stasis mode is here to say hello. Wait, hold
Yeah,
on.
stasis diff happening one more time. We all know that
Hello
the
there.
review stage of the game is most important. Yeah, well, we're getting to review this right now, right here, because it's a stasis mode. So, and by the way, stop doing our jobs in chat, man. You want to do that? Let's talk over here, and we'll talk in caster chat for a little bit, man. But glad to have you. Glad to have you in chat. And
Who's
yeah,
saying what?
so-
Is Goat Boy talking shit?
no, it's Sandman Samuel.
Sandman is a big boy, as we are going to see a big boy Poseidon ultimate coming in to try and get a kill, and we are going to see the execute coming off on to Yuri, going to be the first death of this fight. We do see plenty of low bodies there, as Bacon Crumbs is the next one to fall. So far, a 2-0 engagement in favor of the Ferrymen. They're looking for this advantage to get that Scorpion, to get Pyro and FG online, and at this point, with how they are, possibly look for a very sneaky FG, maybe just go for small. Whatever it is, that thing is going to be here in approximately 20 seconds. So it is a very big objective that has now entered the game. And also, while that was happening, Oni Fury has come on to the map as well. And so that'll be pretty big, comboing the Oni with any combination of Pyro and FG. It'll be super duper important to see how that plays out, because of course, if you manage to get one or both, it's a very, very big circumstance for the state of the game. As we will
Yeah, it
see the
looks like
Ferrymen starting it.
Oni is going to get started up here by the Chiron. Geb will come in to receive and tank. And we are back in a stasis mode as Crush would have gone off there. So I'm guessing that the Oni Fury is probably already gone, as Wukong is zoning out the remainder of the team that was investigating from the Ferrymen.
Yeah, and this is sort of not what you really want to see if you are the Boonie boys, because right now they just lost all opportunity to go to the other side. Like, now they're invested in this fight here, and the Oni Fury's gone. Like, that's surefire. No matter what happens, you won't get there in time. You just have to go over and be like, hey, let's at least try and get something and grab that Pyro. They still might be able to do it, considering that most of the Ferrymen have backed. So we will see.
It looks
that
like
picked up
Yuri is
here.
already on it, so
Yeah, we will see it. That Scylla is in the area code, so you will have to be a bit careful here.
has
Scylla
been
does
pinged.
have
There
the
is a
ultimate.
ward.
Doesn't look like Sphinx will die here, though, in this sort of frontline adventure, but they do manage to, in the end, pick that up, but Kepri will be the one to fall as a significant amount of ultimates are used to secure that kill. A little bit comical there, but yeah, we see this be a 2-for-0 engagement for the Ferrymen, and now the Ferrymen, with the advantage in numbers and gold and XP, are going to look to pick up this Fire Giant very handedly, as Sun Wukong is going to look to zone with that ultimate. Achilles joining him there, and so that is the story of the game, splitting the fire objectives. Pyro for Boonie Boys, but the big one himself, Fire Giant, going for the Ferryman. As we hit stasis mode once again.
Yep, tier 1 will fall in the mid lane. Tier 2 looks like it's going to be on the docket here. 10k XP difference, 8,100 gold difference in favor of the Ferryman. And this is just getting... It was a little out of hand. This is way out of hand now. if you are the Boonie Boys, what are you looking for to try and turn this game? I know you've just given up a Gold Fury, or you've given up the Oni Fury, you're giving up a Fire Giant. You were able to take the Pyromancer, but is there something here that you're going to be able to do as the Capri will fall once again and the crab will be served a la platter? Is there
Well, whatever
something here that you
discussion-
can do?
Yeah, if there was any discussion, it's kind of over with the support dead, but it kind of died right there. But really, it's a very tough position because any fight you pick, you're probably going to lose. Even a Phoenix defense is going to be pretty bad. At least the Kepri should be up by then or close to it. Really, it's sort of a hope that you can get a pick onto somebody important moment. Like, can we grab this Scylla? Or can we grab this Chiron? You know? Yeah, I mean, he's huge, but that's why it's so hard to get him. Scylla would be a more reasonable target to get. Of course, Chiron does have less escape with only that knock-up, and sometimes it's used aggressively, so... yeah, it's a tough situation, but I think without getting a power play here, it's pretty hard to full-on defend what the Ferrymen have in store.
I mean, as this game does progress, you're going to have to, hopefully, if you're the Boonie Boys, play for the long game. Yes, you don't have the full builds coming up. Yes, you don't have the XP and all the other stuff. But what you do have is, if you can get a pick, and I'm talking if you get the Achilles, if you're able to 5-man collapse onto the Scylla, they all have kill streaks going on right now. So that is going to be a massive amount of gold if you're able to pick one of them off. Now, we're also starting to hit the end game, meaning, well, except for the Kepri, who has a little bit more of a slog, ahead of him. If you can get to that level 20, you can start fighting at least on more even footing, because it's really just the items that are going to be the difference. About an item and a half down across the board as it stands. But that being said, as the longer this game goes on, the more things can shift in favor of Boonie Boys. But are the Ferrymen going to allow that to happen? And that's the real question here. Are they going to be able to take that gas pedal and push on it hard enough that they're just going to ride it to the finish rather than allow Boonie Boys back into this game?
Yeah, that is the key of the game, and you're 100% right there. If the Ferrymen simply don't do much with this lead, like right now, if they just simply keep rotating through the jungle and farm, yeah, you're eventually going to pay for that very hard, because the Boonie Boys will eventually catch up. There is a ceiling to Smite, in terms of things you can get and levels you can reach, of course. So you can't allow that at all. And it's pretty simple. There's no towers left. You just push down Phoenixes if you can. You can also wait a little bit, wait for that Fire Giant to get back up, and then push the advantage from that point forward. So there are plenty of options here for either squad, but if you are the Boonie Boys, you're hoping to God that the Ferrymen just somehow manage to squander this.
The pings were coming out. Loki is kind of doing the little stealth reconnaissance here, but he's going to back off, and that Primal Fury is not going to survive very long. That also gives a little bit more of an advantage. Again, they now get the Primal buff on top of them, a little bit more pen against objectives like those Phoenixes that are still over there smiling.
The Soul
at them.
is getting caught out there, and a Crush will come through, but the damage will not register. Soul is going to use a Blink to maybe try and get away. Sun coming in here to try and maybe finish him off, or her off rather, but will not manage to get there. Achilles will just W key straight through there. Raptor manages to get a kill onto Arisen, but this is a full-on frontline invade of that team as Poseidon is able to hit all of those bodies, but look at the damage it did. Absolutely nothing at this point in the game. That is an unbelievable realization. You drop your biggest ability and go, oh, that only did 10% of everyone's health bars at most. That's a bit sad.
Yeah,
if you're Poseidon.
I mean, Scylla did just drop both her beads and Aegis in that fight. So
Yeah, you do get those actives there, which is important, of course. But I know as a mid laner, you love to see those numbies, and that's a very sad numbie situation right there.
Yeah, it's difficult right now for the Boonie boys trying to gain what positives they can at this point in the game. And again, if you are this far down, you're 13k gold down at this point. You've got to look for, okay, is there something that we can do right now, even using this more as a scrim or a practice, if this game has gotten way too far out of hand, which it looks like it possibly has? How do we play from behind? How do we try and look for something? Maybe we can try and go for a steal. Maybe we try and go for something here to give at least a little bit of an advantage to, as the Hercules ult just comes in a little late from Yuri. But is there a positive that we can grasp from this game? And as of right now,
I would say the Soul. I mean, Soul played very well.
Yeah.
Only died, I believe, twice, and yeah, only died twice. Is the highest level on that team so far. Is doing a significant amount of damage. I think that's a good light to go through. In this situation, you want to look for, okay, who is your best player at the moment in terms of gold and XP, and try and play through them. As Geb seemingly fat fingers the Cataclysm,
and he just stood there. He's like, yeah, oops, yeah, didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that.
It's only 50 seconds, but that's still
an ult you're not gonna have in this attack on a Phoenix.
Yeah. So with this Fire Giant buff, they're looking to do this fight, and of course, Boonie Boys are looking for the huge defense if they manage to find out. Sun Wukong is going to blink in, and then the ultimate coming in, baseball coming through. Sun Wukong invading onto that Poseidon. Poseidon's going to use his own ultimate to peel off of that fight. Bird goes down, and we are seeing that while nobody has died yet on Boonie Boys, they have lost the Bird. Hercules might be caught out here. Big heal coming in, and the Khepri ultimate will make sure that he still survives. But that does mean the Khepri ult has now been taken off the table. You have to lick your wounds and try and go and defend both your Titan and this mid Phoenix, as Hercules will be the first one to arrive here. This Bird is going to get bursted down very quickly here, as this might be looking for just the Bird sweep, as all of them are now gone. And now it looks like they're just going to maybe back up, buy more things, finish off their builds, and look to really end, as Boonie Boys now are just looking for waves and to defend and hope that that left Phoenix will be up by the time that you see the enemies again.
Yeah, Ferrymen playing this really, really safe. They could have probably gotten a pick there, maybe two, forced to fight somewhere in the Titan room to maybe get something there. But instead, they come back, they pick up the Pyromancer, they're going to buy up so that they will have full builds across the board, minus Scylla. As Scylla's just kind of sitting there for a little bit with an Ob Shard. Wait a second. Was he going Spiridesso? He went Spiridesso and instead went back down to tier 2. Don't you be cheeky like that again. Ori's gonna be what's fought over right now. Ping's coming through. Loki trying to farm and do something, as he has worked his way back up to level 19. So yes, Primal Fury will go down again, which means we're gonna stack another buff of Primal stacks onto the Ferrymen. They will pick up purple buff on their way through, because hey, why not? One bird up, only 1 out of 3, and wave, we don't need no stinking wave. And so we'll see what happens here, but I cannot see a future where the Boonie Boys take this one in hand.
Yeah, I mean, you just saw people full backing from right lane. They knew that that Bird was essentially free. There wasn't going to be a defense. This is going to be a full Titan room defense coming out on the side of Boonie Boys, and they're just going to simply challenge them and say, hey, waves are still going to come in here. We're going to get golden XP. So now we're going to see Poseidon get a huge amount of damage. The Scylla ult is not going to be able to connect with anyone, and taking that fountain advantage there. But oh my god, so much damage, and Soul is off of the battlefield from that. The Kraken coming in, but is not going to really hit anybody. But we do see finally the first 2 kills of the game for the Boonie Boys are coming in. This is actually might be a successful defense here in the end as they try and pick up the Geb as well. I don't know if they're going to be able to succeed. The Chiron has to use the beads and the dash in order to get out. Scylla rooting the Kepri. I don't think they're going to chase, but Yuri's going to give it the old college try here. But that was a huge defense and the first 2 kills of the game for the Boonie Boys.
I mean, if that was enough of a knife's edge where if they take out Hercules, and even if Bacon Crumbs is down, if they take out Hercules, they're pushing down a tier 2. Instantaneously, I say they're going to get a tier 2 off of that one. Now, Risen's still up. Bacon Crumbs is now just revived. There's still 4 seconds left. Now try and get something. Get some farm. Try and get back up. You've got 3 people at level 20 already.
But the big thing here, yeah,
Oh.
I hate to cut you off, but this is massive. This is an EFG
Yep.
here, and 3 people are fighting for it. Geb is going to take a significant amount of damage from it, being the tank here. So, really, if Boonie Boys don't spot this, because they do have a slight advantage here in terms of having the 5 numbers, fully having to defend, they're actually going to let that slide, and so EFG is now on the plate for Ferrymen, and that's just yet another wall you have to climb over, is the huge amount that EFG buff brings. Yeah, you see XP leveling off as both teams hit their top levels, so, and XP really doesn't matter at this point. Gold is the big name of the game, and yeah,
I mean,
'cause a
I'm
few people
just
still
I'm
haven't
just
gotten it.
saying, at the SPL level, we have seen teams throw from 10k. We have seen
Oh,
teams throw
yes.
it from 10k. So that's true. We can throw at 50k. There's there's a possibility. And speaking of which, they had a good successful Titan room defense last time. If they punch down the carries, if they take out a couple of these players here, yes, it's going to be really tough with an EFG on all of them, but if they are able to keep a couple of these players from going through, and especially the carries, it could be a turnaround. There's a hope there.
Yeah, as we
Whether it's a
do see this
forlorn
fight
hope,
now
there's a
coming
hope.
in, a huge Kraken coming in. This fight is going to be brought to the Titan room, as we will see Jeering Lamb and Bacon Crumbs falling to the efforts of Omega there. That is most likely going to be game there, and it is a 2-0 sweep by the Ferrymen. Will be the first set in QSL Season 3 play. What a time we had.
Yep, absolutely. GG's to both sides. Again, really tough game for the Boonie Boys. I know they really wanted to make it closer than that. We even thought it was going to be closer than that on the podcast. We said 2-1 one way or 2-1 the other way. But to start off the season, a victory for the Ferrymen. 2-0 is the final score of the set. Man. Yeah. Get them numbers up. Yeah.
Raptor did what he needed to
Those are
do.
those
So
are rookie numbers.
I can't blame him. He did everything that he needed to do in mid lane. He didn't really need to diff anybody. The mid lane was sort of inconsequential. It all came down to just the advantages you could pull through the side lanes. So that explains that. I'm happy there if I'm Raptor. Of course, Raptor should be happy anyway because he is currently the only captain in the Kraken Smite League with a victory. As we have yet to see the other games come, and we will see them as the week progresses, of course, but he is now the sole victor. Post-game interview. I mean, we want to
Oh,
pull
they're
in everyone.
asking. They're asking.
They want one? Go for it.
I don't see anybody on the Discord server, but if somebody wants something,
Raptor can come in here of his own volition.
That's true. There are a couple that can come in here.
Herc can come in here of his own volition.
Yeah, so Herc, Raptor, come on in if you want to talk. We'd be more than happy to give you but I think Bears, yeah. There's a let's just say there's a few mods in this booth. There's a few casters in that booth down there. So we
Yeah,
were looking
well,
for
there we
casters
go.
tonight and went, wait a second, they're all playing.
Yeah, but now we have all the casters here. So,
What did we have? We had like 6 casters playing tonight.
what a time,
Um,
man.
Hey,
Let's see.
these guys.
Yeah,
2,
GG's. It was a fun set. It was a fun set.
4.
I don't know. Okay, this microphone is usually quiet. So to hear someone
Hey.
say I'm loud is a compliment.
I am fine with that. I would rather have you be too loud and having to, force the volume down rather than way too up. So I am down with that. That being said, congratulations on your first victory of season 3, and in fact, the first victory of season 3. Congrats.
Thank you. It feels good.
Yeah, so Raptor here was giving me a little bit of shit after the podcast, saying that, hey, wait a second, the Herc and I went to the season 1 championship, and I wasn't around for season 1. I didn't know.
Also,
And-
season 1 was
okay,
a long time
what I
ago.
what I said exactly. What I said exactly is you're literally 5 of the 8 teams. You said these guys have really good synergy. I think they're going to be really good. And I'm like, you did not talk about me and Herc at all. And me and Herc literally went to a championship together. So
it's still more I talked about you guys more than I talked about Lil Noms, so just we're gonna leave it at that.
okay, fair
Um,
enough.
Yeah, we were pretty tired by the end of that.
We were exhausted, man. I was my lisp was coming through. It was bad, man.
Yeah. But anyways, like, you grabbed that first victory, but there's still things to learn in a victory. What do you draw from how you guys played? What are the highlights? What are the things that you want to work on as a team?
Okay, so I'm gonna be completely honest. We were kind of at a disadvantage because we hadn't scrimmed at all before Sunday. Because I was on vacation pretty much for 2 weeks, and so I did the draft in Utah when I live in Ohio. So so I get home on Sunday, and then
Utah diff.
yeah we scrimmed Lil Noms, and we just got absolutely destroyed. It did not go well. And then we scrim the Chosen Guans yesterday. We get absolutely ran at game 1, and then I'm like, maybe I should pick up Scylla. And then we win games 2 and 3. I'm like, okay, I'm picking up Scylla today. And then we win games 1 and 2. Season 3 Scylla is going to be the Chonga season 1. Just saying. It's hey, you should have banned the Chonga.
Yeah, should have banned the Chunga. I got a lot of memes dedicated to that.
Oh man.
Yeah, but like, yeah, you say the positive there for you, but what about you, Herc? What do you think you guys did best, or what you can work on?
I think a lot of this one thing in our scrims that was constant throughout all the 4 or 5 games that we did play against the Lil Noms and the Chosen Guans, because we've always had that very strong starting, like the first 10 minutes of the
The
game.
laning phase, essentially.
Yeah,
the laning phase.
Exactly. The laning phase would go really well, and then something would happen and it just wasn't clicking. And so one thing I think we can take from this is just we're getting back into the rhythm. We're figuring each other out. We're also getting our team comps under control, which I think can contribute to most of our success. Is just I think we just plain out drafted them.
Yeah, you guys had
Yeah.
a couple interesting drafts there. Can you walk me through both games 1 and 2? What was your mindset?
Okay, so
going in.
game 1, you saw we first picked Scylla Soul. And that's because that is what we ran yesterday when we scrimmed Linstein, and it felt really, really good. And coming into this set, we were like, we would not be upset if we just got a rerun of that last game. from the scrim yesterday, and
Mhm.
so Scylla and Soul was open. We took Scylla Soul. We didn't complain about it at all. Omega. This was our first time playing with Omega. At least my first time playing with Omega this season. And so I didn't really know what he wanted to play. So he just said, "Give me Wukong or Achilles," and we obviously he's really good on Wukong. And then the bottom two picks came. Who did we play? Who did Bears play game one?
Bears played
Pele. Yeah. I don't know. I think he just locked that in without saying anything, and it just worked out.
Well, he did mention a few times that he wanted to play it. His mind was basically set on no, I'm playing Pele today, and that's perfectly fine because
Yep.
Pele's a very
Yeah,
tough,
Pele's
tough guy
powerful.
to go.
Pele consistently gets through bans. Solid pick.
Says Jeremy, who loves Pele.
I do love Pele.
And then Herc, you want to talk about the Kepri pick because this was just kind of last minute.
Yeah, it just we hadn't really ran it in scrims, but we were looking at the team comps in the first game, and we figured with hold on a second, I'm looking at their team comp that they had on first game. They had the King Arthur, Rat, um Yanis, and Chiron. We figured that maybe the Kepri could provide some good revives that we would need, and just provide some good laning pressure. And thankfully, it actually was a really great idea because we got to lane super early, pressured them out early with the Soul Kepri. That's a lot of pressure to deal with against a Geb, and so which kind of led to us taking over the duo lane and getting ahead where we needed to.
Yeah, you guys played the side lanes a lot, Not saying that Raptor, wasn't a factor in either of the games, but that seemed to be your focus, is getting ahead in solo and getting ahead
Yeah.
in the duo. Is that sort of your play style here, you think?
Yeah, but
Yeah, go. Sorry. That's just kind of how it worked out because I know Herc. Trust me, I know Herc. I know Herc for a fact knows that if I'm in mid lane, I will just be safe and I'll be fine. So, and Bears knows that as well. So, mid lane wasn't really the priority. It was more getting Omega ahead, which Omega we left alone a lot of the time anyway, except for when he wanted help. But the side lanes just kind of ran at them, and I just stayed in mid, farmed, stayed safe, and then got to late game when I could two shot people, and that's just basically how it worked out, and it worked out really well.
we're not
No, I don't. I am going to watch that back, and then I'm going to block it from my memory forever.
I'd also like to add, like, part of the Kepri pick and just a lot of the stuff that we were looking at is all to set up the Scylla, in my opinion.
That's kind of
Yes.
what we found
Yeah.
out to work yesterday. Like everything that we played yesterday was set up for the me on the Scylla, and they just trusted me to hit abilities, and luckily
You're not
I
missing.
decided not to be trash these 2 days, and
Just
I
simply
actually
be
hit
better.
abilities. Yep.
Just
Yeah.
Raptor is just gonna simply be built different.
Yeah. These last 2 days, Raptors not missed abilities. It's freaking great.
So
Yeah,
any
yeah.
majors teams, I will drop my captaincy if you want me. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
Yeah, Raptor
I'm
for two
Kid gets
majors. There we
one
go.
game and now he gets a big head. Gee
I don't
whiz.
know, man. If you wanna scrim Phantoms, you can find out how Stages is.
Oh Jesus.
No, I'm good right now. Look, I love these guys. I love the team that we drafted, and I'm excited to see what we got for the season. I think that we can be before this game, before this set. I thought that we could be a top 3 team easily, and after now that I've seen everyone play, I've seen us play together in a legitimate set. I think that we are definitely one of the stronger teams in the minors.
All right, yeah. You
And
did put a good foot forth, so.
and a big shout out to Louis, Omega, and Bears, who just played their brains out today.
Yeah. We drafted him to spite you.
Oof.
Ooh.
Hey, I mean, I'm sure Louis would love to wipe the floor with whatever you put in his lane. So,
Wow.
okay, this is getting a bit trash talky. We should stay professional.
Can one simply scrim the mages? But anyways, we're sort of getting off topic, so I think that's
Mhm.
probably where we should end today's stream. It's been a good time. It was a fun game. GG's, boys.
GG's.
Fantastic set, fantastic beginning to the QSL Season 3, especially for the miners. And, we're excited to see what the rest of Week 1 brings. You guys can rest easy knowing that the hard part is over and now you get to watch the fun. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for the great games. Thank you to Neptune for being on the camera, and thank you to my man Red Sniper for helping out with that analysis.